Hello my friends, I'm back with another yarn review video from Premier, and in this video I'm looking at some anti-pilling yarns, and I want to go over what is anti-pilling yarn anyway. Anti-pilling yarns are specifically engineered to resist that buzzing and keep your stitches looking smooth and neat even after lots of use or machine washing. They're treated during the spinning or finishing process to reduce loose fibers and friction buildup, which means your projects stay looking fresh longer, especially great for garments, blankets, or any project you plan to wash often. Anti-pilling technology has been around since the early 2010s, but it really gained popularity in the mid-2010s as more companies developed softer, more durable acrylics and premium blends. You will see brands like Premier, Lion Brand, Yarn Bee, and Stylecraft help bring anti-pilling yarns into the mainstream by offering budget-friendly options with the better longevity. Now you're seeing anti-pilling options in everything from worsted to DK weight and the chunky weight that I'm showing you in this video, and they are in tons of colors and styles. They've become a favorite for anyone who wants the convenience of acrylic without sacrificing the look and feel over time. Pilling is what happens when friction is introduced into the equation, as you see here. Your beautiful yarn that you start out with eventually gets wear and tear from friction, which you'll notice a lot under the arms or on the chest where you might have jewelry, or you're rubbing up against things when you lean maybe to do dishes, things of that nature. Even something as innocent as wearing a shoulder bag and rubbing against your beautiful knit or crochet garment can cause this friction, creating unattractive pilling. With Joann closing, I wanted to do some more yarns that you can buy online because we don't know what the options will be locally anymore. Now, I have heard very recently that Michaels has bought intellectual property of Joann's. I don't know what that's going to look like as far as the yarn selection in the store. I live in a big city. I'm in the United States, and I have 4 Michaels in a reasonable distance from where I live that I could drive to. Of course, some are closer than others, but if I needed yarn for a project, I would be willing to drive up to maybe 20 minutes to get it. The others are, maybe 4 minutes, between 4 and 20 minutes. So for me, that would be a reasonable amount of time to buy yarn for a project. All of the selections in each of those stores is atrocious. The shelves are usually at least 60% empty. I find a lot of the Caron cakes lines out in big bins in the center of the floor, which is fine. I do use Caron yarns, but the actual shelves that are dedicated to yarns in those stores, they are always mostly empty, and there's never enough ever of any color for a project. So if they can get their act together, reallocate more room for yarn and some of those private label, the Big Twist line, I'd be happy to go there and shop for yarn again. But currently, I don't know what the situation is. It's a new announcement, and there would have to be some reworking, and of course they would have to bring in the fabric. It's a whole thing. This video is not for that, and I'm not the person to look to for news on that, but I'll let you know what I see if and when something changes in my location, in case you are able to drive to one, even if it's a distance away, that they might have a better yarn selection for you in the near future. That would be wonderful. All right, let's play with these a little bit. I have my hooks for the chunky and for the DK weights. All right, now this chunky yarn. This color is gorgeous. I don't know how it looks on screen, but it is a true teal blue color. I am a green fanatic. I am not a blue lover, but I love some blue-green tones. And this one really caught my eye. I have a project in mind, and I've bought several skeins, and it does encourage you to buy enough to complete your project, the die lot, which indicates there's probably variation from time to time. Now, something nice about this, you notice it says bamboo. I love bamboo yarn. I use it so much for my summer garments. I'm very familiar with it. It's kind of splitty. That's just the nature of it. It's not the yarn company's fault. It's just the way it is. You use a good smooth hook, it's less problematic, but yeah, it's meh. But it is so soft and yummy. I think it's worth it. Now, the addition of this is not a summer yarn. This is an acrylic yarn with 30% bamboo, and that really gives it some softness. Now, you notice if you've ever touched an anti-pilling yarn, they tend to be very soft and smooth for some of the reasons that I talked about when I covered what anti-pilling yarn is. And this extra smoothness here, and this has a nice springy feel to it. I haven't played with it yet. You see all my skeins are still untouched. I wanted to give first impressions here. But I'm really curious to see what the bounce factor is, that kind of springy feeling. Okay, here's my end. Now this recommends, let me see the hook. I have a 8mm out. This recommends for crochet hook 6.5mm. That seems kind of small for the thickness of this yarn. It's a category 5, but it's going to depend on the stitch and what you're making with your project. All right, this is the outside tail. Let's get that out of the way because we don't want that. All right, let's find this inside tail, work up some chains, and see how it is. Curious if it is splitty like bamboo yarn typically is. I think this would be so nice for a blanket. Oh my goodness, so soft. All right, chaining up, seems all right. I'll tell you, this 8 is not looking too big. I mean, for a blanket or a shawl, scarf, cardigan, anything like that, I think it's perfectly fine. That's 6mm or 6.5. That's going to give you a really tight stitch. And when I use a category 5 for my ribbed hat, I've got this size hook. All right, so far, no splitting, slides easily. Gosh, it's soft. This is really nice to work with. This color is gorgeous. Now the colorways for this particular yarn is a little more limited. You're not going to see the options that you might see for like the base Premier Basics, which I've done a review on, and I was really impressed with all of the color options, especially the brown tones. And I'll link that video if you have not seen it. Yeah, this is really nice. I'll have something with this coming up somewhat in the future. I've got a few projects ahead and we have our crochet along coming, but you'll see something with this later in the year. All right, I like this. Very nice. Stitch definition is decent because there's a slight softness to it. By softness, I mean a little bit of a, I don't know if fuzziness is the right word, kind of a soft blur look to it. I don't know how it's showing on camera, but if you see it next to this really smooth yarn, that kind of soft blur effect that it has, that's what I'm talking about. And then, of course, bamboo has that slight sheen, which I see in it as well. Very nice. Okay, I'm happy with this. All right, now the anti-pilling DK. This is a category 3 yarn. And this is 100%, I believe. Let me check before I even say it, but I think it's 100% anti-pilling acrylic. Where's the end? There we go. I seem to gravitate towards this linen color in so many brands. Okay, let's try this now. All right, This is a ply yarn. I'm really curious if this is going to be splitty. Acrylic isn't usually too bad for that, but you never know. This has a little bit of a sheen. It's an elegant yarn. Nice stitch definition. Let's work a few more stitches. I'll do half double crochet for this. I was using single crochet for the bamboo blend. Right, I'm not seeing any splitting. This is not quite as soft as the bamboo, which I would not expect it to be. It's working up easily. Now this one says a 4mm hook size on the back, which is what I'm using, and it's making quite a tight stitch. So depending what you're making, you might even want to go up to a 5 for some drape. I feel like 4mm, I even see these recommended on some category 4 yarns. Yes, nice stitch definition. You can see that little bit of a sheen. Gosh, this color is so pretty. It's very elegant. I'm gonna try it. I have a 6mm furl sitting here. I'm gonna try and hook some up with this. Let me come back and do that. All right, so I've worked up the yarn. You see I have 2 here. We'll get back to the anti-pilling yarn. Looks very smooth. It looks much better with the larger hook. So I have the 6mm. These are half double crochet that I worked. And I have this nearby. So this is a category 3, just regular acrylic. This is the Baby Bee Sweet Delight, and you can tell just from feeling this is going to pill up. So if you're making a baby blanket, this I would definitely go with, because from, baby blankets get a lot of washing generally. This is going to result in a better looking over a period of time for baby. All right, so I can see in this, I'm wondering if it's gonna even show up on camera. When I was working it, so it's pretty early morning here, the sun is shining brightly on my workspace. I can see the little fuzziness of the acrylic kind of showing up here. And I talked about that when I was mentioning what causes pilling in the first place. And with this one, yes, there is a little bit of the haloing look, but it's dramatically less when I look at it. Just there's very little to none there. And this feels smoother. I don't know if I would say it's softer. It's got a nice softness. These are both pretty soft yarns, but the treatment that this gets on it, you really can feel the difference. And it looks, with that slight sheen, it looks a little more elegant than this one. And the prices are comparable. This was, I believe, $5.99, and these go on sale all the time. This one, $5.99 at the time of purchase, and of course, the bee yarns go on sale every other week at 30% off, so the prices are comparable. So let me know if you've used anti-pilling yarn, which ones you like, and what you use them, or what you have used it for, in what project, and how it's holding up for you.